The history of the Moundsville Penitentiary dates back to the Civil War, when West Virginia seceded from Virginia in 1863. Now known as one of the most haunted locations in the state, as well as the country. The history of this location will lead you to believe that some of the stories surrounding it must be true. The first buildings built on the site were the North Wagon Gate, made from locally quarried, hand-cut sandstone. Also built were the North and South cell blocks. The South Hall, as it was called, held 224 cells, measuring 7 foot by 4 foot. The North Hall held the kitchen, dining hall, hospital, and the chapel. With the completion of these main buildings, a 4-story tower was also built. Connecting the tower to the main halls was a large administration building. It included a women's dorm and housing for the warden and his family. Later, after the prison was opened, workshops were built along with several other facilities needed by the prison. The entire prison was built using prison labor, and when it opened, it could house 251 inmates. However, in the coming years, this number would skyrocket to over 2,000. The conditions of the prison were described as excellent in the early 1900s. The addition of a library, a stone yard, a brickyard, wagon shop, and even a coal mine. The mine opened in 1921, ran by a non-prison official supervising the inmates. The mine saved the prison over $14,000 a year in energy spending. However, over the years, the conditions of the prison worsened, and it eventually made the United States Department of Justice's top 10 list of the most violent prisons in the country. A well-known location within this prison is known as the Sugar Shack. While in operation, the Sugar Shack was the location of multiple instances of gambling, fighting, and rape. With overcrowding becoming an issue in the early 1930s, they desperately need to expand the prison. By this time, the 7x4 cells were housing 3 inmates each, 2 on bunks and 1 on the floor. In the 1940s, construction began on the expansion phase of the prison. This phase was delayed due to the steel shortage caused by World War II. The construction finally finished in 1959 and used prison labor yet again to complete the addition. On January 1st, 1986, the prison had reached a breaking point. Now housing over 2,000 inmates, the cell blocks were bursting at the seams. A group of 20 inmates, known as the Avengers, staged a riot. With the New Year's holiday many guards had called off, the inmates somehow knew this would happen and planned the riot for that exact day. Captain Glassock and a few other officers were on duty in the mess hall when the Avengers made their move. They rushed the guards, cuffed them together, and held them at knife point. The prisoners and Governor Arch A. Moore Jr. eventually came to terms on a better set of guidelines and rules for the prison to be run under. No guards were seriously injured. However, 3 inmates were murdered during the standoff by other inmates for various reasons. With a 1986 ruling by the West Virginia Supreme Court, ruling that confinement of prisoners in a 7x4 cell was considered to be cruel and unusual punishment. In 1995, the prison population was down to 600 inmates and eventually closed, with the remaining inmates being transferred to other state institutions. In total, there were 36 murders that took place within the prison, as well as 47 suicides. One murder in particular was very gruesome. It took place in the boiler room. The inmate R.D. Wall, inmate number 44670, was followed into the boiler room by 3 inmates and stabbed and slashed countless times with dull shanks. The reason given for the killing was snitching on inmates to the guards. Along with the murders, rapes, and beatings, the prison was host to 94 executions. The method used was hanging up until 1951. The public could attend the hangings without an invitation. However, on June 19, 1931, that would all change. On this date, inmate Frank Heyer was executed for murdering his wife. When the floor fell out from under him, the noose grabbed him so tight he was instantly decapitated. After this, viewing of executions was done by invitation only. 85 men met their fate from the hangman's noose. In 1951, an inmate designed and built the prison's first electric chair, which soon became known as Old Sparky. 9 men met their fates in this manner. Then in 1965, the state banned capital punishment. The chair is on display to this day and can be viewed on all the public tours. In total, 94 men were executed in the prison. and the torment from the rapes and beatings I believe are still sealed within its walls. And in total, there were 998 deaths in the prison. There have been numerous reports of paranormal activity, and many famous paranormal groups have investigated the site and came up with some pretty good evidence. There are several photos taken within the prison of shadow people, which can be seen in practically every part of the prison. The Sugar Shack is said to be one of the most active rooms in the entire prison. People have been scratched, pushed, and even whispered to. Along with the photographic evidence, there are countless EVPs out there that were recorded in the prison. Could the tragic and violent past be the cause of all the activity today? Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and subscribe. And please don't forget to share it with your friends. If you have a suggestion for an upcoming video, or have a piece of footage you would like seen in one of my videos, please send it over to docket360@gmail.com or DM me on Twitter @docket360. And as always, have a good night.